Aloha! I'm back. Lisa here with Upside Down Pilates, and we are doing Joint Pain Eliminator Live today. And our topic is the number one exercise fail for those with joint pain, and often for basically anyone. Oh, I love this topic. I apologize if I go off and talk too long. I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. So my name is Lisa. I am the owner of Upside Down Pilates and Nourishment, the creator of the Joint Pain Eliminator program, and your trusty wellness warrior and health freedom advocate. So I'm really excited to be with you here today. Well, let's just get right to the chase. What is the number one exercise fail I see with those with joint pain? Too much, too fast. Let me say that again. Too much, too fast. Okay, one more time. It's going to sound crazy because I know you're thinking no pain, no gain. That is wrong. That is so wrong. That is so wrong. I get so infuriated when this happens with people. Again, one more time. Too much, too fast. All right, and this is happening right now. I've got emails and contact forms and phone calls. People are hurting themselves left and right. Why? We've been trapped inside our homes for 1.5 years, and now we're starting to go out and do things, and we're doing too much, too fast. And people are hurting themselves, literally, right now, live in our world. So when we have joint pain, I'm just going to kind of go through the steps that I deal with people when they have joint pain. Step one is get the inflammation down, all right? Well, prior to that, we have to figure out why you have this problem. So that's where I do in the Joint Pain Eliminator program. We go investigate. Do you have a movement pattern problem? Is there a diet problem? Do you have heavy metal toxicity? Do you have a gut dysbiosis? All these things we go look at through postural analysis, dynamic movement assessment, and a bunch of functional lab tests, and me listening to you talk about your life. What is getting this inflammation going in your body? And then you got to get rid of the inflammation. All right. So then you got to start taking steps to get rid of the inflammation. And that all depends on why the inflammation is there. But then when you want to start training your muscles again, you got to go very slow. And this is where I feel like I am like the most expert for at least 3,000 miles where I'm at on how to do this. Number one, you got to work at 25% of your max load. So people come in and they want to start exercising and they can't even lift their arm, or they can't even sit up out of bed, or they can't lift their butt, or they can't lift their leg, and they go and they add a weight and a resistance band and get on all sorts of fancy equipment. No, people, you got to work on being able to lift your own body weight with the stability of your trunk to be able to move things. So again, too much, too fast. You can't lift your arm or your leg without back pain. You don't need hand weights. You don't need a piece of equipment. That comes after you've got yourself stable, all right? So we want to work at 25% of our max load. That's a lot less than what you think, because that's when we're going to get our deep stabilizing muscles fired up. So less is more in this situation. And I write about this in my book, From Sick to Sexy, all about these different fails that people make. And one of them is too much, too fast, and how you have to go very slow and very steady to win the race. Now, so what are we going to do? We're going to work low repetitions. Literally, you may be doing 3 to 5 repetitions of whatever you're doing to start. Let me back up. We got to get you in a comfortable position. All right? So if you have joint pain, you need to set your body up where you're in as little pain as possible. So if you have knee pain, you have to find a position that it's not going to bother your knee. If you have back pain, you have to find a position that you're not in pain with your back. If you have neck pain, you've got to get yourself in a position when you're in 0 or as little as humanly possible pain. Then we do low repetitions of only your own body, right? So whatever you're moving, you get your center stabilized so that you're in a nice neutral spine. And if you have joint pain, really working in neutral spine and neutral pelvis, optimal spine, optimal pelvis is the best place for you. Then we can start adding moving your limbs, all right? And then you're going to do low repetitions. So only 3 to 5 of whatever you're doing, and then move to a new body part. 3 to 5 of that, move to a new body part. Then, if you want to start adding on, you're going to add on only 1 repetition every few days. And this is what's key. So when I'm working with older clients with a lot of joint pain, we do not add more repetitions more than 1 week out. So we'll do a sequence of exercises for 1 week. And then when we're strong and stable, we'll try to add in 1. So if we're doing short lever side leg lift, our waist is up, our abs are in, we lift our leg, and we've been doing 3, we'll do 3 for a week. And then the next week, we'll do 4. And then the next week, we'll do 5. And you would be surprised at how quickly you're all the way up to 10. If you had started with 10, you would have never been able to do it because you ended up hurting yourself or creating more joint pain while you were doing it. So that is it. That's the key. You've got to do get the inflammation down, do very slow repetitions, and build very, very slowly. So you don't want to work to where you're burning or where you're getting a major workout. You just want to work to where you fire up the stabilizers, fire up the muscles, and then move to a different area of the body. Fire up the stabilizers, fire up the muscles, move to a different area of the body. And you only progress when you are not causing more pain. All right. So that is the biggest fail I see. Now, if you're younger, you can probably progress and add a new repetition every 4 days. All right. So you could try, I wouldn't add more repetitions more than every 4 days. And again, you don't want to add more than 1 repetition at a time. So that would be you add a repetition and then you go 4 days. And then you add another repetition and then you go 4 days. Some people can go at that tempo and that's fine. For some people, if you do that, you're just going to throw them all out of whack and it'll be a big disaster. I told you I could go off on this. All right. So that's it. Less is more. Start with what you can tolerate. Get yourself into a really good pain-free alignment. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything here. So I'm looking at my notes. And then go very slowly. Once you get to a place that you can tolerate lifting your limbs and your body weight, that's when you start adding in things. I really like to start with resistance bands because you can start at a very low tension and then you can add in those resistance bands. And I like to use tools and toys to help actually take the weight off from people's body from time to time. That way they can lift their limbs or their torso or whatever they're trying to lift with a little bit less weight than what they have on themselves with a little support so that they can strengthen their muscles in the proper pattern there. All right. Excellent. Now, here's the big problem. If you don't take that steps to being able to do that, you end up hurting yourself, possibly another part, or you just never heal because you are never able to bring the strength into the joint or the area that you need to help stabilize and get strong again. So if you try to do too much too fast, you hurt yourself. And I want to give you an example. So one of my clients, I've been on vacation. I'm back. Well, vacation, reorganizing the studio and all sorts of stuff like that. But she had hurt her back doing some work. She was cleaning things up. So she was folding forward, moving things around, and a lot of it, several hours a day. And this is not an activity that she was used to doing. So she hurt her back. And, we were able to see, okay, this is how she hurt her back. So we started on a sequence of stabilizing exercises for her. and changed her program from what she had been doing. And she was doing pretty well, but she wasn't progressing as fast as she wanted to go. So she decided to go and get some physical therapy. So she started physical therapy while I was on vacation. I think that's a great thing. And she was doing the physical therapy, and she was also doing the exercises that I had been given to her, and she was doing really, really well. And right before I came back, she was feeling great and fine and wonderful. And she decided that she wasn't going to be able to do her exercises twice in one day, so she was just going to do a bunch of it all at one time. So she did. So she had been doing some hip rolls or hip raises or something, and she had been doing 2 sets of 10, and she decided that she was going to get through everything and do 3 sets of 10. Well, she said she had started to feel really tired but wanted to push through. So she pushed through. And then she tried to get up off the ground, and she'd hurt her back again. Too much, too fast. So this is one of these situations where she was getting better. Everything was falling into place. Things were slowly getting strong. And then she went and she tried to push herself by jumping from doing 20 to 30. That's huge, especially for this particular person because she's over 80. So now she's, I don't want to say backwards, but she has another learning opportunity to see that you go very slowly and only add one little bit at a time so that you don't overdo it. And your muscles, because your muscles and your body are just only going to strengthen as fast as they're going to strengthen. That's just how it is. All right. That's all. So if you have questions, put them in the chat. I will be happy to answer them. Now I'm going to go through. I've been getting a lot of questions. So I'm going to go through and answer some of these questions. They've been coming in on the comments on the videos. They've been coming in my contact forms, all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to go through and answer some of these. So Felipe, hi Felipe. I believe this is a man. He sent me a question in my contact form and says he's interested in From Sick to Sexy, the book. Fantastic. So it's available on Amazon. It's also, there's a link in the description. So if you click on the link in the description, you can actually read quite a bit of the first chapter of the book and get an idea, and then you can go ahead and order it. So click on the link in the description and then order it off from Amazon. You can get it on hard copy, or you can also get the Kindle version of it. Thank you, Felipe. Next, I have Caroline. So Caroline says, aloha, Lisa. I'm enjoying your videos. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me. Are you a health coach? Yes. I will go through my bio very quickly. I hold an MFA where I studied biomechanics and applied that to dance and Pilates training. So I have a master's degree. I am also a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, a nationally certified Pilates teacher. I am a certified GAPS practitioner, a gluten-free practitioner, and an Institute for Integrative Nutrition health coach. So yes, I am a health coach and so much more. If so, are you looking for more clients? Yes, I am taking new clients in to my Joint Pain Eliminator program, which is available now. So all you have to do is in the description, you can click on my Ultimate Joint Pain Eliminator Starter Kit and check that out to see if this is something that interests you. But you can also click the book a call, and then we can set up a time to talk together and see if what I have to offer is something that's good for what you're wanting, and if we might work together well. All right. And then what are your rates? That depends on kind of what happens with that call. So when you book the call with me, we'll get to know each other a little bit, and then we'll see which end of this program might work out best for you. Okay. So thank you so much, Caroline. I really appreciate you contacting me. Next, I have Mary. Okay. Oh, I forgot my thingy for you, Mary. I'm going to go grab it right now. So Mary says, I see you use a spacer for some of your reformer work. Yes, I do. Is there a source to purchase these from? Yes. Let me tell you, I actually brought it from the studio with me. So I am going to really quick go grab it. You get to see my wonderful pillow for 2 seconds. Okay, so sorry about that. I should have brought it over, but I forgot. So this is the spacer that Mary is talking about that I used for the reformer. And let me show you how cool this is. Oh, now we got trouble. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Does this look like anything you might know what it is? This is a garden kneeling pad. You can purchase these at any gardening supply store. So I'm sure that Home Depot has them long. I think I may have gotten mine at Long's or something like that. Anyways, so you're just going to get it's basically foam, and you're going to get a gardening kneeling pad, and then you can just take a box cutter and cut them to whatever size you need. And these, I mean, they're like $1. I don't even know how much they are. So they're so cheap. And it works perfect. And then the other thing that I like about them is you can stack them up to the width you want. So you can put 4, and then it's a nice head cushion, or you can use them for between the knees. You might need 2 or 3 between the ankles or the knees or whatever you need, and then you can line everything up. So there you go. Cheap, easy prop for the day. Go to your garden supply center, get yourself a kneeling pad, and cut it up in the size that you need for your spacers, for your reformer work. This is also great for mat work or any of the other bits of equipment. I want to give a shout out to Eileen. She taught me how to do that. So Eileen is one of my good friends that I've known ever since moving to Hawaii almost, and she did that for me and said, here, try these. And I've been using them that way ever since. So fantastic. Thank you, Mary. Now, I have another set of questions from, I think it's Ida, that I'm going to go through. So this is going to be a little bit longer. Thank you for sticking with me if you're still listening. Okay, so Ida is, she commented on last week's video. So Ida says, thank you so much for this video. You're welcome. I've been diagnosed last week with a labral tear, and it says it's mixed bone to bone. I'm not quite sure what she means by that, but I'm assuming it's a bit of arthritis, and the cartilage has started to break down on some bits of her bone. And I'm assuming this may be a hip bone labral tear, because you can also do it in your shoulder. So I'm assuming it's a hip because it's a bit more common. Doctor says I need surgery. I sometimes have pain in front of my right hip area, so it is her hip. My left glute and IT band is so tight, and no matter what I do, I can't stretch it. As you said, I was a big fan of hamstring stretch. Now I started to strengthen my hamstrings. What do you advise, or do you think surgery is the only way to heal the pain? Because doctor told me I have to have surgery while I have a chance to have it. I'm 38 years old now. If I don't have the surgery, will it get worse in time? Okay, these are all great questions. Before I start answering this, I'm not a doctor or a medical professional. I gave you my bio ahead of that. I help people build health. From the science of what I understand, it says that the tissue of the labral tear, which is almost like a tendon, a very thick tendon. I'm sorry, not tendon, ligament. It's like a very thick ligament that goes around the outside of your hip joint so like here's your hip joint, and then there's a very thick ligament, and then your hip bone goes in here, and then your leg comes down here like this. So it helps to keep the ball inside the socket of the hip bone. According to science as we understand it, and I understand it, once that area is a bit torn, it doesn't heal back together because it's called avascular. All right, so it doesn't have a blood supply. Now, I don't think we fully understand how the human body operates. So because of that, I'm not going to say that anything in science is settled at this point, because we've really learned a lot about the microbiome and the virome and all these different things inside of us that we never knew before. So I can't say that that doesn't help to heal things, because I really don't know. It might. So I don't want to say it will never heal. But I will say that from the standard of Western medicine, from my understanding of how they perceive things, once it's torn, it won't come back together because it's avascular. If that's completely true, I don't know. So now she wants to know about a surgery. The first thing I would do is ask your doctor what surgery they're going to do and be very clear. Are they just going to clip the labral off? Are they going to give you a hip replacement? There are different things that they can do. So find out what your surgery is going to be or that they want you to do, and then ask for physical therapy first. So prior to going in and doing a big surgery, if you haven't had physical therapy, I would see if physical therapy will help you. And my guess is that it will help you. So if your surgeon says no, or your doctor says no, you can go to another doctor. So I would recommend a sports medicine doctor in this situation and see if they will give you a referral to a physical therapist to help you. Now, her next question is, can a labral tear be fixed without surgery? And if the answer is yes, how? So I have worked with a number of people with labral tears. And I have worked with a number of people who have chosen not to get the surgery. And they have been able to use physical therapy to stabilize their joint and stay pain-free. Does that mean the labral tear comes back together and heals? Not necessarily. I don't know. But they are able to use physical therapy and exercises that I have helped them with as well to stabilize the joint and not moved out of the range that causes the problem. So fixed, I don't know, but able to live your life without the surgery, yes, I do have a number of people that have done that. And it is something where you would try physical therapy first, and then if it doesn't work, then you could go in and have the surgery later. With surgery, once you have the surgery, you can't go back and undo the surgery. All right. So that's where I would say I would try physical therapy first. Again, I'm not in your situation. I don't know. I haven't looked at anything, and that's not my job to diagnose or treat anything, but I would definitely go do PT first. Now, when I have worked with people that had labral tears that did physical therapy and then were sent over to me and we kept doing movements, in your situation, it sounds like your roll, slide, and spin is a little off. Maybe your quads are stronger than your hamstrings, and then the rotator muscles are not working properly. So I would try strengthening your deep rotators and your hamstrings and your glutes and seeing if that helps to stabilize it. The other thing that you want to ask your doctor is, where is the tear? Is it front? Is it back? I'm assuming since you're having the pain in the front that it might be in the front, but this is where you want to also ask your doctor with the imaging, where is the tear? How bad is the tear? And all of that type of thing. I will tell you this story. I worked with a client actually during the pandemic, and it's a very, very long story, but she had a labral tear, and she also had arthritis in her hip, and she had decided that she wanted to do a hip replacement. So she was getting ready to do the hip replacement, and I was helping her to get nice and strong in the area. So after the hip replacement, she was able to recover more quickly. And this is a long-time client that I've had for a very, very long time. So she was getting ready to have the hip replacement, and then, oh no, everything got shut down because of COVID, and they canceled. They canceled. So she really was in pain, not super bad pain, but she wasn't in bad pain because she'd been working with me and we had limited her movements to the point where it wasn't bad pain. So she wasn't able to get the surgery for months. It was, 6-7 months or something before they would reschedule the surgery. So I worked with her in solos 3 times a week, keeping that joint strong and stable and teaching her how to limit her range so that it didn't end up having a mad amount of pain during her daily life. And her ranges were limited, granted, but she was strong and she didn't have pain as long as she followed the advice of how to move her leg and keeping everything strong, and she was very consistent. Now, she decided to go ahead and have the hip replacement because she wanted to be able to get back and do larger ranges of motion and that type of thing. So she did have the hip replacement when they opened back up, and she is doing great right now. But she was able to use basically only exercise and then some anti-inflammatory support to help keep the inflammation down, to tide her over until she did go ahead and have that hip replacement. And that all started with the labral tear. So that's a story some food for thought for you. All right, I'm still talking. I'm supposed to make these short. Okay, now, so Ida has another question here. Is it true? So that's what I would say. Number one, talk to the surgeon or your doctor. Where's the labral tear? How bad is it? Number two, can you do PT? Get a script for PT and find a good PT. And I would also just talk to another sports medicine doctor. I don't know how bad the tear is, but most people that I work with, they're sent to PT long time before they're ever given a surgery. So your tear might be really bad. And I also don't know if this is a degeneration tear or if you were dancing and hurt yourself and tore it. It's a very different kind of thing that goes on there, and how you deal with it is a little different. But so that's my information about labral tears there. Now, she asked some other questions, which are great questions. And again, all of these questions that she's asking, these are things that I help people investigate and understand in my Joint Pain Eliminator program. This is why I set up this program, is to help people like this. So her next question, is it true to avoid meat to prevent or lower the inflammation? Should I eat veggies or should I eat meat and chicken broth to lower the inflammation and to nourish the joints? Because I'm so confused about this. Everyone is, darling. Can veggies nurture the joints? Do meat and chicken broth increase the inflammation, as some doctors say? I am not eating meat and chicken to prevent the inflammation. I do have a leaky gut, though. Okay, so I don't know how you're going to build your joint tissue without amino acids from animal products. So my recommendation in this situation is to start pounding broth. And if you're vegetarian, if you will at least do some fish broth, shrimp broth, scallop broth, anything like that, that will help. So I would do at least 1 cup of chicken broth or fish broth or something like that with each meal, because that's going to help give your body the amino acids to go in and start repair stuff. So you got to find out where this inflammation is coming from. So this is a chronic issue that the inflammation is coming from. You may have heavy metals, you may have yeast, you may have mold toxicity. If you already know you have a leaky gut, the inflammation is probably coming from your gut, and then you have to repair the dysbiosis in your gut microbiome and heal and seal your leaky gut. And I have not had success with people doing it in a vegetarian way. I was raw vegan when I was at my sickest, and I had to start pounding broth to repair my own body. Had I not done that, I would have died. I guarantee you I would have died. I just couldn't digest anything. And as soon as I started drinking broth, my life turned around. And I write about this in my book. So these are the steps that I help with people in the Joint Pain Eliminator program, is to figure out what's going to work best for them. One book I will recommend to you to read to really get into this topic is Vegetarianism Explained by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. She is my teacher. She's a neurosurgeon who healed her son from autism through the program that she developed and taught me. So in that book, she talks about how vegetables and fruits are cleansers, and then meats and dairy products and things like that are builders. And you need both, all right? So you need a balance of what's right for your body. So this is an excellent question, and I would be delighted to help you dig into this but first I do functional lab testing to see where you're at with all of this. But you need to have the broth to help build and repair. And then to lower the inflammation, you can start looking at things like curcumin is a really wonderful supplement. It's turmeric. And if you download my Ultimate Joint Pain Eliminator Starter Kit, I get you started with doing just this, decreasing the inflammation and helping you to build up and heal and repair the joint tissue along with the leaky gut, because the inflammation, if you know you have leaky gut, that inflammation in that hip socket is coming from that leaky gut. Then you got to figure out why is it leaky and then start working on repairing it. So what a great question. And I hope I did some justice in answering it. And I've been talking for half an hour now. And if you're still with me, thank you so much. Love you. Okay. So what are you going to do? You can go to the description below. You can grab my book if you're Felipe, if you haven't read it yet. You can also download the Ultimate Joint Pain Eliminator Starter Kit. That will put you on my email list as well, so you can get email updates about when I'm going live or anything like that. Or you can book a call with me, and we can see if what I have to offer might be something that is good for you at this point in your life or not, and kind of take it from there. And you can like the video, you can share it with someone who might need to know this information. And if you have any questions, I don't think I saw any questions come in here, but if you have any questions, put them in the comments. And the next week I'm going to come back and I will answer them. And I should be here. Vacation's over. I'm back to business, people. So I will be here next week. And then remember, Tuesdays at 1, now I'm uploading a joint pain eliminator episode. So we did the first 2 that we aired as television shows, and now we're sharing them on YouTube. And it'll just keep going. And the first set that I'm going to show is going to be a whole sequence that I use in my studio with real people for back stuff, when they have back stuff going on. And then the second set is going to be hip stuff. So if you stick around, Ida, the hip stuff will be up in a few weeks. All right. Thank you all. I love you all. Aloha. Have a lovely, wonderful day. And it's been delicious chatting with you. And I will see you next week.